Hello, welcome back to From Soft Serve. Today I wanted to show just a very quick tutorial on playing Dark Souls 2 Scholar of the First Sin online in 2024 as part of the Return to Drangleic community event, where basically we just incentivize people to come back to Dark Souls 2 or play it for the first time and get a really cool community experience with a bunch of messages being left and people available for summoning and invaders as well. And there's two mods that I recommend because they're playable online and they'll enhance your experience and it'll look more beautiful and it'll control better. And the first one is a Center Deadzone mod created by Half Grown Hollow, or Evan, who is also working on DS2 Absolution, a really cool overhaul mod that fixes a lot of the gripes, I think, that people have with Dark Souls 2, me included. But you'll see here, the left is the original Deadzone for Dark Souls 2, which is really weird. It's a box style, and then the right is a radial Deadzone, which is basically what like DS1, DS3, and all the other games use, but DS2 was weird and super easy. So we're going to download the Scholar of the First Sin Center Deadzone mod and hit manual download the file, easy peasy. The other one is DS2LightingEngine Scholar of the First Sin, which is, I would say, arguably the best Souls mod of all time. It literally replaces the entire rendering engine of Dark Souls 2 and puts in a modern one with volumetric lighting, ambient occlusion, better anti-aliasing, better material handling. Everything is better. It's one of the easiest ones to recommend because it's like, do you want your game to look better? Great, cool, awesome. And it also performs well. There's been a lot of work on optimization, and so super easy. So we're going to download this one, which is DS2LightingEngine version 0909, and hit manual download, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. And just for people that are not used to it, you will see your Dark Souls 2 Scholar of the First Sin, because of course I have it installed by using Steam, and it's commonly in local disk C, program files, Steam apps, common, Dark Souls 2 Scholar of the First Sin, and then it's in a folder called Game. And generally, this is what your folder is going to look like on the inside, where there's no unpacking. We haven't unpacked anything. This is just what the folder looks like after you've installed it via Steam. So let's go to your downloads, where you'll notice I've downloaded the Center Deadzone mod and DS2LightingEngine. You can use whatever unpacker program you like. I use WinRAR. It's really easy. And I just unpack the two of them in the same folder. So we'll install the Deadzone mod first. That one's really easy. And basically go over to your game folder, and you'll see Dark Souls 2 EXE. We want to make a backup of that. So I usually just hit Control-C, Control-V. But basically it's just copying and then pasting, and it automatically creates a copy. And that'll be your backup. We're going to copy over Dark Souls 2.poc.exe from the downloaded Deadzone folder. Copy that into your Dark Souls 2 folder. We want to launch that, Dark Souls 2.poc.exe. It will pop up a thing saying, show me your Dark Souls 2.exe file. So we click on Dark Souls 2.exe, hit open. It will now say, cool beans, thank you for that. File to create. We're now going to create patched Dark Souls 2.exe. So you hit save, and it goes, aha, what's up, homie? We have made the file. And you'll see the file down here, patched Dark Souls 2.exe. So now go back to the original Dark Souls 2.exe and hit delete, because we still have our original one back here in case we ever need it. So go down to the newly created patched Dark Souls 2.exe. Delete the patched portion. So now it says Dark Souls 2.exe. And you're done. You now have a better Deadzone. There's nothing else you have to do. You don't have to turn it on or enable it in game or whatever or anything. It is by default enabled. And it's great. And let's go back to our other downloaded mod, DS2LightingEngine. So there's one thing recommended for this. Well, a couple things. Your shader folder for Dark Souls 2, just create a backup, just like we did for the EXE. It'll just be called shader copy, but you can rename it to whatever you want, or backup or anything. I don't think you'll have much issue with it, but it is recommended in the mod description, so I figured I'd, list it there. Basically, go back to your downloaded folder for Lighting Engine mod, copy everything that's in it, and go over to your game folder and paste. It will ask you, do you want to overwrite? Yes, we do. We're going to replace those files. Easy peasy. And now you have that installed. We have our new exe because that's for the Deadzone. And we're going to launch with Dark Souls 2.exe. And we'll see how it looks, which it will look just like the normal game. The computer has no idea of the difference, that it's using a completely different rendering engine now. Okay, so we hit start. And there is one thing to do before getting into your game, your current save, or a new character, whichever one. Go to video, and we want to tab over to the video settings. The one thing you do want to do is make sure anti-aliasing is turned off. Motion blur, turned off. Camera motion blur, also turned off. Everything else can be set to high, or should be set to high. SSAO, depth of field, all that good stuff. You can also disable depth of field if you want. And everything else, make sure it's on the highest setting, and then you're good to go. Beyond that, let's load in game, and then I'll show you some in-game settings for DS2 LightingEngine, because it's not going to be handled through the video settings of the game, of course. Since it's a mod, it has its own menu, and you hit F1, and you'll be welcomed by this little menu that has user settings like anti-aliasing, SMAA, and you can set it to low, medium, or high. I recommend high. And there you go. Volumetric fog, because it added volumetric fog to the game. You can change it from disabled, low, medium, or high. You do need to restart the game. Texture cache, that's for overwriting textures. That's a whole other thing, but you can also do that with playing online because it's just swapping in textures. So that's a different option. Max anisoptric filtering. I do recommend checking that box. And shadow quality, normal or high. I recommend high. Soft shadows, low, medium, or high. I'm going to change that to high and then restart the game. But I won't do that for this video. Pre-computed light mask. Personally, wouldn't really worry about that too much. I'm going to hit disabled. That's just kind of how it handles between the dynamic shadows and baked shadows. But realistically, just keep that to default. Don't worry about it. Under lighting preset, you can change a ton of things if you want. That's up to you. You can also just never look at this and you'll be fine. You'll have a great experience. But if you want to get in here in the nitty gritty, you can change basically every possible thing with how the game looks. And you can change where the sun is. You can change the lighting, the contrast, the saturation, the bloom, skybox, literally anything you can think of. The biggest one I think is disable sky atmosphere. It makes it look more like vanilla essentially without some of the changes that the lighting engine did. And that's kind of the big difference, is you can see the reflections are much better or noticeable when you have it. By default it's disabled, but you do get the really cool skybox put back for Majula. But beyond that, nothing too crazy, and you don't even need to look at any of that. So easy peasy, and now you have a much more beautiful game, modern renderer, in some ways looking better than Dark Souls 3. Geometric density, no, but in terms of the modern nature of the renderer, yes. And better anti-aliasing, and definitely some better things than Dark Souls 3. But actually, the creator of DS2 LightingEngine, if you follow them on Twitter, they are working on Dark Souls 3, and it's really cool. So check out the video about that. They had some videos doing comparisons. But anyway, hopefully you enjoyed this quick tutorial, and yeah, hopefully you join the Return to Drangleic event. I know I will be, and have a bunch of fun, invade, summon people, leave cool messages for people. Maybe not too many, weird messages, but then again, it's Dark Souls, so we got to leave some wonky ass messages, right? And yeah, hopefully you have a good time in Drangleic with the peak Majula vibes, right? And yeah, I'll see you out there. Oh, there's someone. He's having fun. I don't know who the hell he's killing in Majula, but he's killing somebody. I don't know why. But yeah, anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.